Metric prefixes are little letters or symbols we add in front of a unit to change how big or how small that unit is by factors of 10. I'm going to give you a list of these. I'm going to write them down first, and then I'm going to explain what they are. First one I'm going to write down is nano, symbol N. Next one is micro, symbol mu. Mu is just the letter U with a little tail, a little funky tail in front of it. Next one is milli, symbol M. Next one is centi with C. Then we have deci, D, followed by kilo, K, mega, capital M, and giga, capital G. Some of these words might seem very familiar to you. For example, milli, centi, deci, and kilo, because we've all heard of a milligram or a millimeter. We've all heard of a centigram or a centimeter, a decimeter, and a kilometer. So these are just little prefix symbols that we add in front of a unit to change how big or how small that unit is by factors of 10. For example, you know that there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. The value for centi we can write as 10 to the negative 2. What this means is, if we were to use meters as our unit, we can say that 1 centimeter is equal to 10 to the negative 2 meters. Or we can say 10 to the 2 centimeters is equal to 1 meter. And that should make sense because 100 centimeters are in 1 meter, therefore there are 0.01 meters inside 1 centimeter. Okay? For milli, it is 10 to the negative 3. For micro, 10 to the negative 6. And nano is 10 to the negative 9. Okay? Let's do one more example here. Let's pretend I am doing something in grams. And if I measure something in nanograms, this is what it means. 1 nanogram is equal to 10 to the negative 9 grams. Or we can say that there are 10 to the 9 nanograms inside 1 gram. These numbers may seem really large. 10 to the 9th, what is that? Well, 10 to the 6th is a million, so 10 to the 9 is a billion. So there are 1 billion nanograms inside 1 gram. So these are how metric prefixes work. Okay? And these prefixes can be attached to any unit. It can be attached to liters, meters, grams, moles, Celsius, I guess, if you really wanted to, but that wouldn't really make sense. But these can be in front of anything, so that's why they're called prefixes. Okay? Deci, 10 to the negative 1, because you know that there are 10 decimeters inside 1 meter. Kilo, 10 to the 3. Mega, 10 to the 6. Giga, 10 to the 9th. So for kilo, let's say I'm going to use meters again for my example. 1 kilometer is equal to 10 to the power of 3 meters. Or we say that 10 to the negative 3 kilometers gives you 1 meter. When we look at this chart, if I were to fit in where the original unit is, or the base unit, it would go right here, between deci and kilo. Everything to the top of this arrow are units that are smaller than our base, and anything above the arrow, or I guess below the arrow, to the bottom of the arrow, are units that are larger than our base. Okay, you can write this down to help you visualize what these units mean. Let's do some examples. How many meters are there in 2 nanometers? Again, we are going to set this up in the chemistry 11 fashion by starting with what we know and then applying a conversion factor. We want meters, put that up top. We want to cancel out nanometers. Meters and nanometers, what is the relationship between the two? It is the easiest to think about if we think about which one of those units is the larger one. between meters and nanometers, okay, from our chart here, nanometers is the one that's smaller because nanometers is right here and our base is over here. So nanometers is much, much smaller than our base. So we pick a larger unit and we assign it a value of 1. And we think, inside that 1 unit, 1 meter, how many of the little tiny nanometers do I fit in there? According to our chart, the value is 10 to the negative 9. And what that tells us is, inside that 1 meter, we have 1 billion, or 10 to the 9th nanometers. In your calculator, how do we type this in? Here is how you would type this in into your calculator. You will punch 2, punch the division sign, punch 10, punch the exponent button. For most calculators, it would appear as a hi-hat. And then we punch in a 9. So this is entered in your calculator as 2 divided by 10 to the 9th, or 2 divided by 1 billion. And what you should get is 2 times 10 to the power of negative 9 meters. When we finish, we check our answer. Does this make sense? I'm converting something from nanometers to meters. I know nanometers is smaller than meters, therefore, when I convert, I should have a very, 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 very small number in the end. And when I check, I in fact do. This is 0.002. Okay? Let's try another one. How many micrometers are in 5.2 megameters? Now here, we are trying to go from micrometers, okay, UN, into megameters. Okay. From our chart, what we are doing here is we are trying to go from micro to mega. We are trying to make this jump here. Now, when you do the conversion factor, it may be very confusing to you how many factors of 10 are in between micro and mega. So an easier way to approach this problem is to break it down. Let's go from micrometers to meters, then go from meters to megameters. It is easier to convert something into a base first and then convert the base into the second prefixed unit, because we can memorize this chart with all the values, but it's harder for us to go jumping between one to the next. Okay, so let's start with 5.2, which is what we are given, 5.2 megameters. So the first step is we want to convert this to our base. The base is going to be meters in this case, and the one we want to cancel out is megameters. When we have finished that, we can then do our second conversion, where we cancel out the meters that we just got, and we convert to our micrometers. So let's practice that. Let's set up our conversion factors. The first one is between meters and megameters. Again, ask yourself, which one is bigger, meters or megameters? From our chart, megameters is the one that is much larger than the base. So let's assign that value 1. Then we ask ourselves, inside 1 megameter, how many meters do I have? And from the chart, or on a test, you have this memorized, it would be 1 million, 10 to the 6th. So there are 10 to the 6 meters inside 1 megameter. Then we look at our next one. Between micrometers and meters, which one is the larger unit? Meters. The base is larger than the micro. Assign 1 to meters. How many micrometers are in meters? Also 1 million. We punch this all into our calculator, or I guess you don't really have to because you're really just timesing it by 10 to the 6, 10 to the 6. Hopefully you can work that out in your brain. If you cannot, feel free to type it into your calculator, and you should get the right answer, which is going to be 5.2 times 10 to the power of 12 micrometers. How do we check that we did this correctly? We look at our units to see if they cancel out. We see megameters, megameters will cancel. meters and meters will cancel, and then we are left with just micrometers, which is what we wanted in the first place from our question. Next, we check each of our conversion factors to make sure that if they were to stand alone, do they make sense? Our first conversion factor says there are 10 to the 6 meters inside 1 megameter. Is that correct? Yes, it is. Our next conversion factor says 10 to the 6 micrometers inside 1 meter. Is that correct? Yes, it is. Once we do that check, then we know that we have done this problem correctly. Alright, let's go look at our final example here. How many centimeters cubed are there in 6.11 meters cubed? This one is slightly different because our unit is cubed. What does that actually mean? Well, from your math classes, you have learned how to do algebra. So you know that meters cubed really just means meters times meters times meters. So we can do this problem in this way. 6.11, we have meters times meters times meters. We want to convert that to centimeters cubed, which is centimeters times centimeters times centimeters. Okay? Our conversion factor is going to be centimeters up top, so that's what you want, meters down bottom. The relationship between meters and centimeters is that there are 100 centimeters for every 1 meter. If we do this conversion, we notice that one of our meters unit will cancel. If we were to stop here, our final answer would be 611 meters, meters, centimeters, which means meters squared centimeters, which is not what we wanted. We wanted centimeters cubed, which means we have to do this conversion a few more times. So we do this one more time, 100 centimeters in 1 meter, and this time we see that we cancel out the second m. We still have 1 m left over, so we will do this yet once again, and when we do that, we are done our conversions. I encourage you to do this in your head, because sometimes doing it in your head is faster than your calculator, but go ahead and punch that in if you're not comfortable. When you do, you get the answer 6.11 times 10 to the power of 6. Creating a little moment of suspense there. Our final unit is going to be centimeters, and we see that there are 3 of them, so centimeters cubed. This is how we do units that are raised to a power. The nice and elegant way of writing this out, instead of doing this conversion factor 3 times, is to do the following. 6.11 meters cubed times 100 centimeters per 1 meter, all cubed. And when you punch this into your calculator, you will type in 6.11 times 100 cubed. Do not forget the cube. And you will get the exact same answer as before. The danger in doing these questions is falling into this trap. 6.11 meters cubed times 100 centimeters cubed in 1 meter cubed. This will be the trap that you want to avoid. Writing this problem out this way, you will forget to actually cube the 100, and you will just multiply 6.1 by 100, which will not get you the correct answer. Also, when we check our conversion factor as a standalone, does the relationship it represents, is it correct? Are there 100 centimeters cubed inside 1 meter cubed? No, there isn't. There's 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So doing this would be incorrect. In your notes, I have a couple of other unit conversions to take a note of. The one most useful to us might be the milliliter to centimeter cube conversion for volume. Other than that, you don't need to memorize these ones. These are just for your information. The prefixes in this box, however, you do have to memorize. You do need to memorize these common prefixes for Chemistry 11. On a test, you will not be provided with the symbols or the values or the written prefixes. You will be expected to know how many centimeters are in a meter and vice versa. So there you have it. How to convert little tiny units to bigger units and vice versa, because sometimes the things we measure are too small or too large to just use the base unit. And now you can appreciate your phone, because your phone comes in 16 gigabytes. Guess what that means? Decades ago, your phone would have came in a few megabytes. And if you're torrenting this weekend for something to watch, you might be looking at the speed of internet in kilobytes per second. Making connection with the world. Goo out.